Alright everybody, we are back, and as you can see, we are not on Formula 1 22. Instead, we are on the new World of Outlaws game on the PS4 actually, because unfortunately it does not have crossplay, so the league I am in is on PS4, because not everyone has PS5s yet, but still, a game I've been having a lot of fun with since it came out. Yeah, there's a lot of things I like about the game and I like about this league setup. You know, first off, it's something new, something unique. You know, a new challenge to tackle. It's ran by people in the East Coast United States, so it's actually a decent time at night, out of the way of other things for me to do it. And yeah, I actually get the chance to race a couple tracks that are very close to where I live. One of these, the track we're doing tonight, Williams Grove. The first three races that you will see, we do these on Sunday night. So yeah, one a week, and the first three races you'll see are preseason, and then after that we will start the main season. But yeah, Williams Grove is about a little over an hour away from me, you know, in real life, so it's cool to be able to have my first ever race, and this is actually going to be my first ever online race on this game. Dirt racing has a very different format than the racing you guys are used to seeing on F1, so to run it through, to keep it as short as possible, is that there was 35 people in the event. So we are split into 6 different groups. So here you see all the groups have 6, except one of them will have 5. Our group here, what we're going to be doing here is this first race is just qualifying. So we're going to spread out on the track, and it's all about putting down the best time. The game will show what your best time is, and that will set the grid for us to do a race with each other, basically. And that is a heat race, and there's 6 of those heats going on. And what will happen is that will decide what main race or final race you're in. The first and second place drivers will be in the A main, which is the main race you want to be in. Third and fourth will be in the B main. And fifth and sixth finishers in the heats will be in the C main. So we have all 6 groups kind of going in our own lobbies all at the same time here. Like I said, first, this is just qualifying. So we're going to spread out as much as possible. I have really had to work hard on the setup. I actually had a slightly faster setup than the one you'll see me run here, but the game doesn't have like a save setup function, so you just have one setup save. That's it. And I was making further changes to it, and then I messed up the setup, and then I didn't remember all the changes I made. So yeah, I had to basically start over completely from scratch the day of the race. And yeah, this is a setup where you'll be seeing me hug the bottom of the track. That nice darker dirt right at the bottom has a little bit more grip, so we want to get as close to that as possible, or on it if possible. But of course you don't want to hit the wall because that would be a bad time. Luckily in this league they are actually running with damage off, but cautions are still on. Obviously that won't come into play here during qualifying, but in our heat race and in the mains that may come into play. We actually get a little bit of slipstream here from the car ahead, but we end up catching him too much. We did put in a decent lap time. We got into the 14.7s. I was hoping to be able to get into the 14.6s here. That's why I was running consistently high 14.6s, though. So yeah, I still set down a pretty good lap for myself. And yeah, like I said, this is something completely new to me. So I had no idea where I was going to fit in with these guys. A lot of people have played these dirt track racing games for years. And here I am, the new guy, coming in here straight into league racing, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens. So we're gonna come across the line here. That's just the position I finished in this race, but like I said, we weren't actually racing. Oh yeah, we're actually the group of 5. I thought we were a group of 6, so we are actually the lone group of 5 here. Yeah, and then once we go back to the main lobby menu, it will show what your fastest times were for the session, and then from there the event host, the lobby host, will line us up for the race in our correct qualifying positions, and then we will have a short heat race, and that will decide what mains we go into. And to describe the mains then, so after we all do these heat races, then the C main will happen. So everyone that finished 5th and 6th in their races will be a C main, and only the top 3 of that race move on into the B main, which the top 3 finishers from the C main join all the drivers that finished 3rd and 4th in their heats for the B main, and then those cars all have a race, and then the top 3 finishers from that B main will join everyone that finishes 1st and 2nd in the A main, which is like the main final event. It's a 100% distance race, but sprint car races aren't generally that long, so I think it's like 30 laps. So yeah, we got qualifying down, and as you can see, we are actually the fastest qualifier. So yeah, I had no idea what the spec. I was thinking like, oh boy, you know, here we go, throwing myself right into the deep end. Never played a dirt racing game before, buy it, and then in like a week, I'm immediately just first online experience is a league race. And here we are, starting off good, you know, we are, granted this is just the heat, not a main or anything, but we will be starting on pole position for our heat race, which will be our first actual race on any dirt racing game. So yeah, that was a really encouraging start for me to be able to nail a decent qualifying lap time and actually see right away, like, okay, we do have some pace, we can actually hang with these guys. You know, it was very encouraging to see that. Alright, and now the nerves were running a little bit high, not gonna lie here, as we start our very first race ever. The car beside me must have a much higher gear ratios because they have a lot more acceleration. They go in, but too deep on the inside. They don't stick it on the inside. We get back around them on the inside. Now we're going to hug the low side. You can see in the rear view mirror, he's taken the corner very different from me, and that's something great that you're going to see about this game, is that there isn't just one way to drive these tracks. It's not like asphalt racing where you got one optimal line and it's just about going as fast as possible and only really going off the line when you're defending and overtaking. You can use different parts of the track all the time here, and not just because you can be fast on either groove, but also the dirty air and slipstream also becomes a factor. And that because you're on dirt and you slide, there's so many ways to overtake. You can overtake someone by doing a different line than them. You could focus on the exit. You could dive underneath them on the entrance. You can do crossover moves really easy. You know, there's tons of variety to the way you can go about racing people in this game, which turns what seems to be something so simple into something actually, you know, pretty complex. And this game, for those of you who don't know about this game, the company that makes this game was bought by iRacing, so this game has some pretty good physics. And yeah, something else about this league is that everyone is locked to absolutely no assists, and this game is tricky to drive without assists. So if anyone ever gets into this game, don't be discouraged early on if you're having trouble keeping control of the car, because default setups suck on this game. Like, really bad. I could not keep the car in a straight line of default setup. As soon as I started messing with the setup, then I realized, like, oh, okay, that's just what you have to do to kind of be able to function on this game, especially with the sprint cars. And yeah, you can see early on, this couldn't be going any better. We're in first position, next to last lap. We're pulling away from the field, and it looks like we are going to go from being the new guy onto the block to winning our heat race, which was just not expected by anyone, which just makes it that much better, you know, like coming in here, the new guy, having no idea what to expect, you know, the same mindset I always have. Like, it's always fun to compete. I enjoy that process of, you know, going from whatever position and trying to better that until I'm competing for wins or championships. But to come in here right away to something new, and to see that I have pace right away just shows, like, man, like, everything I've been thinking I've been doing right is pretty good, and we got some decent pace to be able to hang. And look at that, we are P1. We're gonna go straight into the A main, baby. But before that, there is one more race that actually happens that I didn't mention in the format of dirt racing. Like I said, everyone has their heats. That decides what main you get into. But there's one more little thing, and it determines what the front few cars' starting positions will be for the A main, and that is called the dash. So out of the 6 heat races that happen, like I said, first and second place were already locked to go into the A main. But only the winners from the 6 mains, which we are one of them, are now in this lobby, which will be a short race, random grid here. And this determines how the front 6 cars will be in the starting, like what our starting positions will be for the A main, which will feature 15 cars out of the 35 entrants. So yeah, you're well within the top half of the field just to even make the A main. But you know, these are the front runners right here, and we have a great start right away. P2, we're going to try to hang with, I believe that's Harold there in front of us. See, he's taking a very different line than us. We're going to try to keep some slipstream and just keep nailing our lap times. What I really want to do early on in these races is break away from the people that don't have the same pace as me. So even if I do lose a couple tenths a lap because I'm battling with someone else, it's not enough for the cars behind to be able to overtake me. And that is Harold, the number 6. And he is just absolutely, he had an incredible setup. Look how much speed he has. Being able to hook up the outside on Williams Grove, that is just not something that you usually see on this track. But boy, is he making it work. His car is absolutely hooked up. He is keeping it in that nice thick grippy dirt up top. And he's getting just absolutely incredible runs off the high side. But hey, I'm not... That's cool that they're doing their own thing. I know that this is the best I can do here, and I'm just going to keep trying to nail my lap times to the best of my ability. Right now, we are in 3rd right now, so we would be starting, 3rd in the A main out of 35 competitors. I wasn't complaining one bit right now. So this was actually, it can be frustrating when you see people pass you, but this was only encouraging to me to see that I'm hanging with these guys. And yeah, we are actually making a little bit of road in on RPM here ahead of us. Harold is breaking away a little bit, but I feel like I can even pass here RPM in the next couple laps. We do a really good job of hooking the bottom there. And now you got him on the top, me on the bottom. Oh, he scoops down right in front of us there, really close to some contact. We're going to pick up the slipstream here. We hug the bottom better than I think we're more hooked up on the bottom. His setup seemed to be a little bit better in the middle and top of the track. And now we are coming into the last lap. See if we can make it happen to be able to start on the front row of our very first dirt track race. We're going to go underneath him. We're going to barely be able to be in front of him coming out to the line. Son of a bitch, we got third. That was a little frustrating to barely not to get the position there, but a nice clean battle there with RPM. Nothing like having a good clean battle in a league race, even if it's only preseason. And yeah, I'm not disappointed at all with being 3rd in the A main. Not going to be disappointed with that one bit at all. And something else I should probably bring up is how the scoring works. I forget how many points you get for the win, but you get there's like a 3-point gap between winning and 2nd, then like another 2-point gap from 2nd to 3rd, and then from then it just goes down 1 point at a time amongst all the finishers. But you have 2 opportunities for bonus points in the regular season. You get 2 bonus points for having the fastest qualifying time, and you also get 2 more bonus points if you are the biggest mover, which is like from what your starting position is overall out of everyone when we start the mains, like C, B, and A. Whoever is the biggest mover, who gains the most positions from during the mains, like all of them, gets another, I think it's called big mover or something like that. You get 2 more bonus points. Let's say you have a bad heat and you start in the B main, towards the back, but you make it all the way up to the A main and make it up to the front of the A main. Hey, that's 2 more bonus points for you. But speaking of the A main, here we are, our very first A main ever. We ain't ever gonna see a B main. And it's chaos off the start, people everywhere. We get shoved off to the outside, and 1 corner into the race, unfortunately, we were P14 out of 15 after starting 3rd, which was pretty frustrating, not gonna lie. It's man, all the chaos that just happened there, and we're the guy that gets the shit end of the stick. We did nothing wrong, we haven't ran into anybody, and now 1 corner into our feature racing career, and we go from starting 3rd to being next to last. But hey, I know that I got some pace, and I'm confident that I can gain these positions back, and this is the time to do it. Early on in the race, when everyone is still close together. And hey, I was thinking, it's still just preseason. Nothing going on yet in terms of points. You see, we got some people absolutely wild out here, having a lot of trouble keeping control of the car, which could just be them missing the setup completely, which is anyone that hasn't played this game or has played it but not without assists, try taking a shitty setup on a track like this with no assist. It is an absolute handful. You won't even be able to keep it on a straight line on the straightaways. It is ridiculous. You really gotta make sure your setup is hooked on these tracks in this game, especially in the sprint cars, because these are the 410 sprint cars, the fastest cars in the game. And we now find ourselves up in the P7. We get by a lot of the people that don't have as much pace than us. And yeah, we're going to hope to gain a couple more positions. We're gaining again. It's RPM again ahead of us. This was the guy that finished barely ahead of us in the dash. So maybe we can get him where it matters here in the feature race, the main event. And there was something else I wanted to bring up about this league. Oh yeah, they actually are running 4 different divisions. They are running the 410 sprints and also the dirt car late models on Sunday nights, and on Wednesday nights they run the dirt car street pro stocks or street stocks, whatever they're called, and then also the World of Outlaws late models. Those both are ran on Wednesday nights. All of these divisions will have full custom setups, with the exception on the dirt car late models that I mentioned also run on Sunday nights, along with what you're watching right now, the 410 sprints. They run on what they call the slider setups, which is basically like the default setup. You just have a meter that says loose to tight. So yeah, that's slider setup. But everyone else, like what you're watching here, this is all full custom setup. So yeah, and the league, I guess I didn't even mention what the league was called. The league is called Extreme Dirt Racing, like an X and then Extreme Dirt Racing. The guy that runs it, you know, he just hit 3,000 followers the day that I am recording this video, so great for him. I was just looking up information about this new game coming out, and I just ran into his channel, and I saw his video where he was advertising this league, and I just said, let's fucking do it, man. Let's go. He's a really good guy, really dedicated guy. He has a really good, smooth system for running these races, and I've had nothing but a blast racing in his events so far, and I'm really looking forward to the regular season. As you saw, we finally got by RPM there after battling him for literally 2 races now. We are heading close to the halfway point of this feature. We are back in the 6th, which is still a little disappointing considering we started 3rd. But hey, we still got literally half the race left to slowly claw back a couple more positions here and end with a nice solid result in our first ever league race. And at a track that is almost our home track, but there is one more track in this game that is still actually closer to where I live yet, and I will be talking about that more when we get to that track. We are advancing forward now. This is the start of lap 24 of 30, as you can see in the top left, and we have gained significantly on Oceanic Curve. Basically this whole group ahead, everyone is in this little group here, second all the way to me in 6th. Harold is absolutely pulled away up front, and that is the difference of a setup. And oh man, you can just carnage ahead of me. I get bumped into as well, but I'm at least able to get 1 position. I have an opportunity here to get the overtake on Oceanic, and that must not have been RPM. I'm an idiot. I was not battling with RPM earlier here in the feature because that's RPM up there. Too many black and yellow cars. That's my excuse. But yeah, the teal and black car in front of us is Oceanic, and we're going to be looking obviously to get around him, as we're going to be looking to get around absolutely everyone in the race. We are in 5th, fighting for P4. Still, like I said, slightly disappointing comparing to where we were at the start of this race, but it is what it is. And the fact that I got hit early but was actually able to overtake cars all the way back to almost where I started on the grid is another really encouraging thing to me, because moving into the regular season, if something does go wrong in a race, I know that I still it is possible in this game, very much so, to run back through the field, which is very encouraging because, like I said, my first online race here, so I didn't know it was going to be like. We almost got by Oceanic there, but he gets loose on the outside, gets into us, and yeah, we're down to P6. So like I said, it's just preseason. Luckily, damage it off, but it is frustrating though, where it's like, I've been racing and playing so well in my first ever race, and I started 3rd in the A main in my first ever race, just to get hit in the first corner all the way back to next to last. Make it all the way up to overtaking the P4, just to get hit again and go down to P6. So yeah, the encouraging thing there is that no one was passing me in terms of raw pace in the feature, and I was the one passing people and making up spots. So overall, P6 out of the 35 competitors that entered in this event in my very first online race ever, or event at all in any dirt racing game. Can't complain about that. And next week we will be going to my hometown track for the second preseason race, and that is Port Royal Speedway, which literally, when they're racing, I can walk out my front door and I can hear them clear as day. I live less than 2 miles from that track, so I'll be looking to show up and show out on my home race, and I look forward to sharing that with you guys soon.